Welcome to the Darknook Monster Shop. This video is a little different than my usual. I'm still making a monster, but this week I'm making a creepy cute ghosty for a particular crafter here on YouTube, Emma Nasby Art. She recently started trying to make some stuff with foam clay and it didn't go well. In fact, I've noticed a fair number of creators on YouTube having a hard time with foam clay. So, this video is a foam clay basics video for crafters. Foam clay is an air dry clay that dries into something like EVA foam. It's like Play-Doh, but a little softer. Now, I get the cheapest foam clay off Amazon that I can find. It comes in these little packets in these sculpting kits for kids. You can buy bigger bags and brand name foam clays at places like Michael's or Joann's Fabric, but it's still a pretty cheap medium to work in. So, first thing to look for, is the clay in a little brick or is it all goopy and smeared around the inside of the bag? The more goopy it is, the wetter and softer the clay is going to be. Now this isn't a problem, it just means you need to work the clay a little bit to air it out and dry it out a little. And if the clay is dry in a little brick, you may need to add a little water to it to soften it slightly, like I have to do later in the video. See how this green one is all goopy and stuck to the bag? Let's crack this one open and squish it a bit to show you how to work it. Notice it loves to stick to itself. It behaves a lot like bread dough. I'll squish it a bit and then pull it to see how long the string is I can get. Well, once you get a good pull like this, I'll set it aside in a little airtight tub. It's been exposed to the air and then sealed, so it'll kind of balance out its moisture content. Now this isn't a necessary step. I mean, I could start sculpting with this right now, but I'm working with black and white clay for the ghosty, so I'll use this green later. I'll put it in this little tub, and in this little tub, it'll be shelf stable and fine without drying out for months. Now, these kits come from Chinese companies, and the instructions are useless. Here's some instructions from one of them that I got from a polymer clay kit. Look familiar? Yeah, they just reuse the same pictures for all their clay products. And you can't use foam clay the same way you would use polymer clay or modeling clay. It doesn't behave the same way. So the first thing you need to know up front is this stuff doesn't behave like normal clay. Second thing you need to know up front is there's a lot of sit around and wait for stuff to dry time. Working in foam clay means you're going to be waiting for stuff to dry between steps. A lot, because it takes anywhere from 15 to 24 hours for pieces to dry completely. So, knowing that, let's get started with the sculpt. The first thing you might notice is the white clay packet looks goopy and wet while the black one looks like a dried up little brick. That's because the black one has been sitting around for a minute and has lost more moisture than the white one. That tells me I need to use the black one soon or it's going to dry out completely. Now it's going to be firm and ready to use. In fact, as soon as I open it, I realize it's a little too firm and I need to add a squirt of water and do a bit of squish and conditioning. Real simple. Just a little bit of water, work it in, now you're back to nice and soft. And we're ready to start sculpting. Foam clay rule number 1. The bigger and thicker it is, the longer it takes to dry. And the longer it takes to dry, the more time it has to slowly distort under its own weight. So, and step 1 is make parts ahead of time. Little bits, like eyes and fingers and teeth and buttons and horns. I have a whole box of foam clay bits already made and ready for use. Check it out. I've got gears and teeth and little antennae. Just anytime I'm making something and I have a bit of clay left over, I put it in a mold, or I make some little teeth or little flowers and butterflies. See, it's not all horrible. Sometimes it's nice. The small bits on their own don't really weigh enough to distort before they dry. So the little pieces dry fast enough that they don't get all melty. And once dry, they're surprisingly strong for how light they are. So I make all the small bits first and set them aside to dry. Some eyes and some bent fingers. And because the black clay is already pretty firm, I can just use what's left to rough out the shape of what will be the armature and the stand, and it won't distort much. This will hold up the ghost sheet and the hands and the eyes that I add later. I shape out a rough base and some arm stubs and set it between a couple of sponges to keep the arms from drooping as it dries. And once that's dry, it's time to assemble the bits. Now, I'm going to use yellow clay here so you can see what I'm doing, but it would be easier to just use more black clay and save the extra step of having to paint the yellow bits black later. Now, I glob on a bit of soft clay, which sticks immediately to the dry clay because this clay loves to stick to itself. I stick the fingers I made yesterday into the glob of clay and position them into an appropriately gonna get you scary ghost hands pose. Then I use a paintbrush and a little water to smooth the yellow clay around the fingers. Now this is very easy because I just have to shape it around the already dry pieces. And something cool happens. The dry clay starts to draw moisture away from the wet stuff, so the wet stuff firms up really quickly. If you only use a small glob, by the time you're done shaping it in a few minutes, it starts to firm up and hold its position well enough that it won't distort as it dries. I attach the fingers and then build up a basic head shape. Now I don't need this to have any detail, it just needs to form a shape for the sheet to rest on. Then I stick the eyes onto it and I build out the base a bit more. This piece will be very light, but with the arms up and out like this, it'll want to tip over forward. So I need to take that into account and make sure that it's balanced right. And then I set that guy aside to dry. Now it's time to mix up a batch of foam clay paste. Now this is something I came up with. I mean, I didn't invent the idea of a slurry, but I haven't seen anybody else doing it with foam clay and Mod Podge. Now, I take some of the clay that I'm going to use later, and this is cool because it color matches, and I mix it with Mod Podge and a little water. You can stir this up immediately, and once it's thoroughly mixed, it's good to go and ready to use. But if you don't need it until the other stuff is dry, just put the clay and the water and the Mod Podge in a little airtight container together, seal it up, set it overnight. It'll do all the mixing for you. All that stuff will integrate into its own goo. You give it a little stir when you open it tomorrow. When it's all dry, I paint the eyes white and the yellow parts black. Next, because I'm me, I paint an unnecessarily complicated and detailed paint method on the eyes. That's far too small for any of the detail to be visible on camera because I wanted to test something that I might use later on some bigger eyes. But the last step on the eyes is to coat them with UV resin and cure it in UV light. This makes the clay much easier to remove from the eyes later. So, once all that nonsense is done, it's time to start adding the sheet. Though, technically those aren't sheets. On a classic sheet ghost, those are supposed to be burial shrouds. But that old cultural practice and associated ghost imagery of the burial shroud was replaced in our modern times with the sheet from the modern deathbed. So, maybe we should call this little guy Polterzeitgeist. That was a horrible joke, and I apologize. Now the white clay is a little soft and wet, but as I pinch it out into a thin sheet to make the first layer of sheet cloth, it's going to dry out somewhat faster because it's so thin. You'll notice a change pretty quickly in the texture and the feel of the clay. It gets firmer, so when you pull it apart, it doesn't stretch, it tears, and it looks like fabric tearing. So once I'm happy with this big sheet, I gently smush it and shape it around the arms and eyes. I want it to drape and look like fabric, so I'm careful not to push too hard. Remember, this is only the first layer. I'm going to add more on top of this. I carefully pick the clay away from the eyes, which is very easy thanks to that UV resin. I let it droop to form a kind of a mouth. I wanted to have him have a kind of smiley mouth like Oogie Boogie. I pull the clay apart to look like ragged, torn fabric and drape the bits off the arms so they hang free. I add bits to the brow, making a scowl that kind of looks like wrinkled fabric. And I blend off the edges with some of that foam clay paste and a paintbrush. And because it's made from the same clay, it blends seamlessly in both color and texture, and it looks like more fabric wrinkles. And then I let that fully dry. Now here's one of the real advantages of foam clay. I can just sculpt over any parts I'm not happy with. And now the existing clay that's already on there is dry and it's part of the structure of the sculpt. So now it's going to help hold the weight of any clay that I put on top of it. The sculpt basically becomes its own armature. And since I want the look of layers of torn sheets, this works perfectly. I add on more clay layers in the front over the arms and some hanging down in between the fingers. Then I blend it off and I glue some of the bits in place with more foam clay paste. It goes on like paint or paste and it dries like foam, but it works like glue. So you can use it the same way that you would use bacon bond with polymer clay. But there's no bacon, just waiting. Am I the only one that thinks bacon bond sounds like a breakfast treat? When that's dry, it's ready for some paint. In this case, just a nice blue for an effect halfway between shadow and glowing. I don't know really if you can have a glowing shadow. It seems like a contradiction in terms like jumbo shrimp, but anyway, make it kind of blue so it looks like it's a shadow that's glowing. But here's another great characteristic of foam clay. You can wipe wet paint right off the surface with a damp paper towel, so you can get really nice effects with a simple wash. And when that's all dry, well, that's the Ghosty all done. So, I hope this was useful, and if you have any questions, ask away in the comments. I'll try to answer them all. Oh, and remember, that needlessly complicated eye paint job? Check this out. Thanks for checking out my video. Please hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more creepy creatures and crafty creations from the Dark Nook Monster Shop.